Okay, so we are back with Cedar View Tuscany. Tuscany is in active standing heat as we speak. She was bred yesterday to Vista Oaks recall, and she wants to go back and flirt, and that is why she is being the way she's being right now. Anyways, if you could see her stand, you would see a very, very nice front end on this girl. That is what really made me appreciate her. But also her genetics behind her. Her mother is Cedar View Phoebe, and if you know anything about breeder leader list of this year, Phoebe is on it. And so I'm very excited about her udder and her production. This will be her third freshening, so this is a big deal. Big freshening for her. Sorry, it's when they're in heat, they want to be next to the boys. And flirt, and so that's what she's wanting. So she's gonna sit here with me. Anyways, potentials for this breeding is polled and moon spots. And so she is a polled girl. She has her milk star. She is a 5-star M. So Phoebe is a 4-star M, and it goes generational. Any doe that she has the potential to have a 6-star M on her pedigree if you do milk tests. She is due on March 10th, and like I said, reservations are open for this breeding, and I'm just excited to get in a show ring with her, even though it doesn't look like it right now. Again, she's only acting like this because she wants to go over there and say hello to the boys again. So like I said, she was bred yesterday, and I expect that she took, but we'll see. So that is Cedar View, Tuscany. We are back with Corey's Fancy T. Elflynn. Elflynn is officially 7 years old. She'll be 8 next spring, and we tried to breed her for this fall, like for kids this fall, and she's kind of finicky. She didn't take, and that's okay. It's Elflynn, it's the way she is. She would have, so this year when we breed her and when she has kids in spring, because I'm going to be positive about this, she will have, that will be her 3rd freshening. This doe probably has the most will to milk other than Irma in our herd. The interesting thing about her and Irma are they are both Little Tots Estate Thalictrum daughters, and so that's a big deal. He has a major legacy behind him. And so anyways, this girl ended up going to linear appraisal, and she was appraised as a dry doe, and she's still appraised, I might butcher this if I do, I'm gonna write it down on the bottom of the screen, as VEEV 88. And so that was her linear appraisal score, and that's really, really good in my opinion. I would really like to get her appraised in milk, but she has a very, very strong will to milk. I like to have never dried her up last year. She had triplets with us, and it was the winter of 2020, February 2020, and she did fabulous with them. Didn't have to supplement them at all. They were super healthy, and actually we kept her son, Hill Valley Johnny Cash, and he is Ellie's dad. And so we were very, very happy with that breeding, and so I would really love to breed her. The plan is with Vista Oaks Rocket, because he throws those long does, and so I would like to see that with this compared with this, because she's very short. I would like to see what they can produce, and I would retain a doe out of that pair. I let one of the does go in 2020 that she had, and I wish I hadn't, so I regret that. But this is Elflynn, and basically as soon as she goes back into heat, she was in heat about, I think it's been 2 weeks ago. So as soon as she goes back into heat, we will be going ahead and breeding her with Vista Oaks Rocket, and so that is our plan. So stay tuned for that, and keep your eye on the website for that breeding. Next we have a doe that I have long since wanted in our herd, and this is Vista Oaks Risky Business 1-star M. She obtained her milk star already, and so that's exciting. This will be her 4th freshening this spring. She has not been bred yet, but will in her next heat cycle. And I'm hoping for end of October to be due in the mid to late March. So that's the plan. If you hear that, that's Ellie. She's talking to me. But this is Risky. Risky. Okay, so I met Risky in the spring of 2019, and she ended up winning her reserve championship there as an adult. Before that, she actually already has her junior leg champion, her dry leg. And for a permanent grand champion, they need 3 legs, and the dry junior leg counts as 1. So she's got 1 leg towards her permanent championship leg and so status. And so we are very excited to have her in our herd. She is so sweet and the best personality, and I just absolutely adore her. And I feel so blessed to have her in our herd, and so humbled that Lacey from Vista Oaks would trust us with this amazing girl, because this was one of her girls. She's absolutely, I mean, she loves all of them, but this was one of her favorites. And so to have her in our herd is just absolutely amazing. So she will be bred with Vista Oaks Recall. The potentials for that breeding will be blue eyes and moon spots. I feel like Risky can really help us with milk production and capacity and udder, and really just conformation in general. She's just a stunning doe, and you all know how much I love my golden white does, especially when they have those blue eyes and everything that they have to offer. So anyways, I'm very excited about Risky. And she really is a love bug. She loves to rub and cuddle, and she loves cookies. So it's just very important to her. So we are very excited. So definitely stay tuned for them to have kids in mid to late March is my hope. So that's Risky. Next we have Rolling Meadows, Mary Mercy. Mercy came to our herd the same time, a few days after Miss Lady Liberty did, from Rolling Meadows. And I'm so happy she did come to us. She has beautiful conformation. Her udder is something to behold, and she's actually still in milk, and we are working on her AR Milk Star. And so she's close. It'll be next month, and I think one more test and we'll be done for the year with milk tests, and then we get a break. So she has not been bred yet, but the plan is to breed her with Vista Oaks Recall, probably the next time she goes into heat, which will be probably in the next 2 weeks. So it'll be mid to late March for her, we're thinking, if all goes as planned. And she is blue-eyed, polled, and moon-spotted, and he is moon-spotted. So those are the potentials with this breeding. Again, really nice milk lines. Adding him and her together also really just kind of adds to that. So I'm very excited about that. We actually retained one of her sons, Hill Valley Strike 'em Out, and I retained him because I was just so impressed with her udder and the capacity and the teat placement and length. Again, I mentioned this before, I hand milk, so teat length to me is very important to me in Nigerian Dwarf goats. I don't want to be milking a goat with my tips of my fingers. I want to be able to have most of my hand on that teat, and I do with her. And so she is amazing. She's got amazing production. Even now still, as a first freshener, she really, has it. And it's just amazing because she's been in milk since March 18th. Of this year, and so that's very exciting. So along with that, she's just so chill and so sweet and just so easy to deal with and work with and do anything with, just like really all of our Rolling Meadows does. So that is Rolling Meadows Mary Mercy. Here we have Hill Valley Isabella. Isabella is out of Rolling Meadows BB Godiva and Fields of Grace Z Zambra, which is Hiram. So this is like the 4th daughter out of Hiram that we have bred or are breeding. She has not been bred yet. Her and Karma and a couple others I had just bred 1 or 2 the day before, and her and Karma were in heat on the same day, and last year I could not tell when Karma was in heat. And I thought, well, what if this is my only chance? And so I grabbed Karma and chose to breed her first. And so that is the only reason why she is not bred yet. So we will catch her on her next heat cycle, most likely, as long as it's not like with 4 others, and breed her with Vista Oaks Recall. I made a kind of a little change. If you've looked at our website within the past month, I've made a change on our website, and I changed my mind, and I decided to breed her with Vista Oaks Recall. And so that's the plan. Isabella is the girl that won us our first yellow and black rosette as a reserve champion in the Fort Payne, Alabama Dairy Goat Show in the dry yearlings. Super large class, super competitive class, and she won. Basically, her biggest deal was her rump and her width. And just very dairy, and so I don't know why she's misbehaving right now. She's actually a very nice doe. But with that said, we were thinking, breed her next heat cycle. It'll be probably the end of March that she will be due. Potentials for this breeding would be moon spots and blue eyes. I also plan to see better rumps and some really nice legs, and obviously dairy. If she's out of Godiva, which is Lily, and so they're slow growers, but she may have some maturing to do before her udder really, blossoms like Lily's did, but she's got the width, and like I said, she's a Fields of Grace Z Zambra daughter, so that's a big deal. Lots of dairy in that. So that is Hill Valley Isabella. I also wanted to do a really quick recap on our breeding season. So we did the part 1 and we did the part 2, but after the part 2, things completely changed. And so we have kind of changed up what we're doing. Wasn't really supposed to be that way, but this is why I never post breeding plans on our website until I'm pretty darn sure. And even then, sometimes you move things around. So if you've at all looked at our website, you will notice that it is changing, and that's just part of breeding. And so behind me, I have our breeding. Those are the ones that have taken place. Those are not anything brand new. It's the thing that is behind my head that's totally new. So in our video, in the part 2, we did have listed Rolling Meadows Lady Liberty to be bred with Rocket. And that was not, I wanted that to happen, but sadly in linear appraisal, we did find something in Liberty's udder. And I love Liberty. She is the most wonderful, beautiful, sweetest goat that I could probably ever milk. But her udder was coated tilted. When I went back and I looked at pictures of her udder throughout everything, I knew when she freshened, I didn't love her udder. I didn't know why. Now I do. And this right here, my friends, is why we do linear appraisal, because you learn so much. I still went back and I looked at her pictures. I don't consider it a really bad tilt, but she's coated tilted. And I just think when you're breeding for better, you're taking a risk if you continually breed a goat that was coated with a defect. So we have decided to find Liberty a home. She will go to a home that does not show, because again, in the show ring, I didn't understand why Liberty was near the back. Now I do. And I think it's got to be a home that does not show, but that wants a stellar milk goat, because that is what she is. She freshened with quads last year, had no problem. I was here. The only reason she might have needed me is because she just had them so fast. She had them in 30 minutes tops. We were thankful because it was the middle of the night and it was not very warm, and it went really smoothly. She let the kids nurse. I mean, I could put her on the stand and milk her. I could let her stand in the stall in there and milk her. She was so easy. So we are going to be very picky as to who gets her, but she will go to a fantastic home. I'm in no hurry. She's still in milk, and I'm working on her milk star. She will leave here with her milk star. So that is that with Liberty. And it's sad, but again, and that is probably my first very hard cut from the herd, because I'm very attached to her. She is super sweet. But again, when you try to be better and breed for better, I just don't think it's a good idea. And so I would rather spend time on someone in my herd that I think has potential versus someone who has a defect and might pass that on to future kids with our herd name. And that's the reasoning behind my decision. I had decided, okay, well, we will breed, in that case, we'll be breeding Butterfly. I thought she's been growing, she's been good. We'll definitely be breeding Butterfly, and in Liberty's place, we will breed Alice. Well, I weighed them, and neither one of them are at the weight that I really like to breed. They are a good size, but their weight, they're not skinny, but they're not big enough by the weight I'm seeing. So we are now waiting on them, and we will not breed them until next fall. So Caden was playing around and messing around with Iris. He's always, touching the kids' udders, the yearlings' udders, making sure it's just our way of them getting used to being handled. And he was saying something about Iris, and I said, well, bring Iris in here, because I was weighing. He brought Iris in. Iris has never been weight. She has never been the weight that I wanted her to be in order to breed her. She has been constantly a questionable, like, what am I going to do if I can't breed her this year? Well, I put her on the scale, and she was 44 pounds. And her thurl to thurl is a good distance apart. And so I have decided we will be breeding Iris at the beginning of November, which it's the beginning of November now. And so the next time she goes into heat, she will be bred to Vista Oaks Recall. And Recall will add some length where Iris is lacking. Iris is a rocket daughter, but she's the only rocket daughter that's on the ground that isn't that long, lengthy doe. But she was out of Lila, who was a first freshener. And she's a sister to Sky, who is long, lengthy, and level. So Iris has made me surprised. And so it's never a dull moment at any farm, but it's definitely not a dull moment here. So that is the breeding change. We will be, instead of breeding Liberty, we will be breeding Iris. We will not be breeding Butterfly. Butterfly was always a potential. I even had that on the website, potential only. So we will be taking her off. It's just not a good idea. I wish it was. I wish I could go ahead and do that. But if it's not safe, I won't do it. And that's my rule. So we will hold off on them. And that will be us breeding 13 does for kidding spring of 2022. So and as of now, everyone has been bred that is to be bred except for Iris, because it is November 1st 2021 today. So everyone has been bred, and Iris, we're just waiting on her. So I will do a little snippet here in just a second of her, and you can see her next to her sister at the size difference. But I don't think, like I said, her weight is fine and her width is fine, the thurl to thurl. And as they go through a gestation, they continue to mature. So she will be a good maturity, I think, by the time she kids. So that is that. Thank you guys so much for hanging in there with us and waiting to see what the final decision was on breeding. It has been a year in deciding. So thank you so much. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And we will see you guys next time. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this. That is Iris. And right here talking to me is her sister, Sky. And you can see, of course, Sky is up a little bit higher, but she's definitely taller than Iris. But they are they're twin sisters from the same year, which was 2019. and Sky is being rude to Ellie. But that is what they are. So you can also see Iris next to Gloria here. And there is a size difference, but it's not so terrible. Of course, she's being mean to Ellie. Poor Ellie. Give it back to him, Ellie. So, anyways, and really, Gloria was a very slow grower. So, I'm telling you, these hormones with these girls, they are for real. So, yeah. So, that is Iris. And she's a beautiful roan buckskin doe. And she, you know, she's very pretty. And, correct, she was never good in the show ring. So when they're not good in the show ring, they really don't give them a second look. So I'm just kind of hoping that freshening will kind of calm her down and show her that, okay, leading really isn't so awful. Sky, hello. So yeah, she's got some learning to do, but I am excited to actually be able to breed Iris. That is something that I've wanted to do, especially since I've already bred Sky. So I'm pretty excited about that. So this is an interesting thing. A lot of people will ask, you know, do you have side-by-sides of sisters? Well, this is my side-by-side of sisters for right now. And it's still significant, just like it always has been. I mean, Sky was born so much bigger than Iris. But she's grown and she's done well. It's just, you know, slower. So it's pulling on her hair. That cannot feel good. So that's Iris.